Hey guys, my name is Gabby. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be filming my most disappointing books of 2019, and this is going to be the second video in a series of 4 that is going to be my most surprising, most disappointing, best of the year, and worst of the year. The difference between the most disappointing books of the year and the worst books of the year is that the most disappointing books of the year are the books that I had some kind of expectation for, that I really thought I would enjoy, and then they ended up severely letting me down. These are just books that I thought maybe would be 5-star books, or that I just thought I would really enjoy because they're from authors that I really love. Whereas like the worst of the year, like those are just books that like piss me off or just were god awful, like would not recommend to anybody. Bit of a difference between the worst of the year and the disappointments of the year. And so let's just jump into some disappointing books, shall we? So one of the first books I wanted to talk about that really disappointed me this year was The Friendzone, and I feel like this one super disappointed me because I was really digging this book for the first like 200 pages or so. I feel like there's a few things about this book that disappointed me, and one of the things is the way that Josh in this book is like comparing Kristen to other girls all the time, being like, she's not like the other girls, and like she's just so awesome and not like the other girls who aren't awesome. And like I hate when male characters like put down other women just to say how great she is. Like that's really annoying, first of all. But then the ending of this book was an absolute freaking joke, and it was really offensive. I felt like this book could have had a really great message for anybody that's struggling with infertility, but nope. This book just decided to have a completely unrealistic bullshit ending, and it really made me mad. So it was very disappointing for me. Another one that was really disappointing for me this year is Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren, mainly because Christina Lauren is one of my favorite authors, as I'm sure you know. And this one just did not do it for me, because this book kind of does that thing that I usually hate in romance novels, where the first like 100 pages or so is when they're like teenagers meeting for the first time, and it's very like insta love, and then like 100 pages into it we finally get to the adult stuff that we're promised in the description. This book was just so meh. Like I didn't like the relationship between the teenagers. They were very insta love and annoying. And then I just didn't care by the time they were adults. Like, and it made me sad because I really expected to love this one too, because the main character is an actress. And like, I just love following books that revolve around like film and actors and directors and all that. So I really thought I would love this one, but this just did not work for me at all. I did not feel any chemistry between these characters. Another one that I was disappointed by this year is Normal People by Sally Rooney, because everybody hypes Sally Rooney so much. And so when I went into this book, I was really thinking like this was going to be something incredible, you know, like I really thought it would be great. But I feel like Sally Rooney's writing is just not for me. Like I just did not click with it at all. And this book does that thing that I can't stand, where they don't put any quotation marks around the dialogue, and it's trying to be all artsy and stuff, but it's just really hard for me to read books like that because I just get so like confused. And this writing style was just not it for me. Like it was just really hard to connect with the characters because of it. And I feel like this is one of those books where there's no real plot. It's literally just like a slice of life of these characters for a couple years, and it just didn't really work for me for this book, unfortunately. And it made me sad because I wanted to love this one. Another disappointing book that I read this year was The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell, because this one is her latest adult thriller. And again, this one I think mainly disappointed me because I'm a huge fan of Lisa Jewell's other thrillers. And so I was highly anticipating this book, and I was thinking it was going to be a new favorite. It was just so boring to me, and it just was so slow, and I didn't care about any of the characters. And I actually was reading this one over like the period of a week long or something, and that never happens to me for thrillers. Like that's how I know if I'm not invested in a thriller, if it takes me more than like 2 days to read it, because if I get hooked into the mystery of a thriller, I will finish that bitch within like 2 to 3 days at the most. But like this one, I was reading for over a week. Like I just didn't care. And I honestly probably should have just DNF'd because I just didn't care. One romance book that was super hyped this year that I thought I would really enjoy, that I didn't end up enjoying at all, is The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. And I think I should have been cautioned by the quote right here, the new JoJo Moyes, because I'm not a JoJo Moyes fan either. So I really should have like taken some caution before reading this one, but I just assumed that I would love it because everybody loves this book. This book just did not do it for me because I felt like the main characters were so obnoxious. and I just didn't feel any chemistry between them at all. This book is told from her point of view, Tiffy's point of view, and Leon's point of view. And in Leon's chapters, we get this very strange writing style that I just did not connect with at all, and it totally like removed me from the story every time I try to like get into his chapters because they were just so weird. Another book that I was pretty disappointed by because it's one of my favorite authors is A 5-Minute Life by Emma Scott. This is one that I thought I would love because Emma Scott is just an incredible romance writer. And this one I had really high expectations for because it's about this girl who only has a 5-minute long memory because of an accident that she had. And so it was gonna be very like 50 First Dates, right? Like I thought it was gonna be so cute. I think the thing that disappointed me the most about this is that part 1 of this book was so good, and I was thinking this was going to be like a 5-star book, new favorite for me, and then the second half of this book just completely ruined everything that I loved about this book, and it turned into this cliche, dramatic, like over the top, just complete shit show of a book. And it just made me so sad because this book had so much potential. Like the beginning was so freaking good and I was like, why? This book honestly just made me want to chuck it against a wall by the end of it. So this was incredibly disappointing for me, sadly. One of my very recent reads that I found to be very disappointing was City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. This is one that I had on my TBR like since July or so, and I finally read it in November, and it just wasn't for me, you know. And I feel like that's something that can be kind of disappointing when you realize like, oh, this book just isn't really for me. Like I guess I can appreciate why other people might enjoy this, but it just was not my thing at all. And I just really thought I would enjoy this because it takes place in New York in the 1940s and it involves a theater scene. But I think I realized about myself is that historical fiction is always like a hit or miss for me, and I feel like this one was definitely a miss. And I just don't super care about reading about the theater scene, I guess. This main character was just kind of driving me nuts in this book. Like, she was incredibly shallow, I felt like, and she only would talk about her sex life like all the time. Like that's literally half what the book is about, you know, and I just didn't care. Another book that I feel like had a lot of potential and could have been really great is The Dead Girls Club, because this one has a really cool premise. It's like about these like little girls who are playing with this Ouija board and shit, and then their friend goes missing, and they're telling these like scary stories about this red lady that the little girl has like all these stories about and stuff, and it's really creepy. But then we also get another point of view in alternating chapters of one of the girls as an adult. They're trying to find out the truth about what happened 30 years ago when they were little girls or something like that. And this book had so much potential because the red lady stories were really creepy, and I was like legit scared when I was reading this book. Like it was really creepy and it was doing its job. But then I felt like the adult chapters that it was going like in alternating chapters were so boring and so unnecessary for the story. It was just like so lame. And so this one I was just so disappointed by, because I feel like this one had so much potential and just didn't ever go anywhere. And then another romance that I read this year that I was kind of disappointed by was Hate Notes by Vi Keeland and Penelope Ward, because I love this author duo and I just really expected to love this book. For the first like 100 pages, I was thinking I was really gonna enjoy this book. Like it was very funny. It had this like hate to love vibe going on, and they were working together in an office and it was just like everything. But then it just took a turn like somewhere in the middle of the story, and it just got so like cringy. It turned from like hate to love vibes into like something else, and it was just like not fun to read anymore. And then it took me a really long time to finish the second half of this book because I just didn't care anymore. And I feel like this book could have been so great because I really loved Reed's character. It just didn't do it for me at the end of the day, which is sad. And then the last book I have that I think was super disappointing for me this year is Inspection by Josh Malerman, because I think Josh Malerman is such a great author. Like he has such cool ideas, you know, and he's written some of my favorite books of all time. But I feel like with this book, first of all, it was way too freaking long. This book is like nearly 400 pages, and I feel like this one would have worked so much better as a short story. Like this one would have been really cool if it was, you know, only 100 pages. But this book has like one of the coolest premises I've ever heard, and that is that like boys and girls are separated when they're born in this world, and they're put into separate towers, and they don't know that the opposite gender even exists. And it's just really, really cool and really fascinating. And so like these boys and girls are growing up in separate towers, not knowing that the other gender even exists in the world. and it's like they just took this you just took this concept that was like so cool, but the reason behind why they are doing it is completely illogical, and it just doesn't make any sense, and it's stupid. Oh my god, some of the characters' like motivations in this book and the writing is just very strange. I just did not vibe with this at all, and I was just very like, oh my god, this book was dragging so hard, dude. Like around the middle, I was just like, oh my god, get to the point. All right, so those are all of my most disappointing books of 2019. Please let me know your thoughts, like if you've read any of these books, were you also disappointed by them? And let me know what are some of your most disappointing books of 2019, and what are books that you went into thinking that you would love and then you ended up hating. And yeah, thank you so much for watching as always, and the next couple of videos are gonna be like my best and my worst of the year, which I'm so excited about, and those are like my favorite videos of the year to film, so very much looking forward to those. So thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you very soon with my new video.